let's talk a little about fidelity and adaptations, and how this was not well applied in Uzumaki. Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all well. I'm the Monio, the interdimensional demon who talks about Uzumaki the most on YouTube, and you're on my channel. Let's get straight to the point. My big problem with Uzumaki is the fact that it's not in color. But the Monio, did you make an entire video just to complain about the anime being black and white? Not really. The goal here is to discuss a little about the demand for visual fidelity and adaptations, people's relationship with the fidelity of the works they consume, and why the adaptation of Uzumaki is a result of this, both in aesthetics and in the way the episode is directed. The anime Uzumaki is an adaptation of the manga of the same name, written and drawn by Junji Ito, who is considered a master of horror. There have been other anime adaptations of Junji Ito, such as Japanese Tales of the Macabre, available on Netflix. One of the biggest problems with this anime and other adaptations of Junji Ito's mangas, in general, is the quality of the animation, which is very low and fails to convey the entire atmosphere of terror present in the manga through the visual style of Junji Ito's drawings. And compared to these other adaptations, Uzumaki is very well done, and what is on the screen is visually very close to what we see in the manga. The big problem in this case is the excessive fidelity. But the Monio, in what sense can fidelity be a bad thing? How can there be too much of it? Well, the very concept of adaptation already implies that things will not be visually faithful, because if you are adapting something to another medium, you need to use the resources that this new medium has, and that the original medium does not have. For example, if I adapt an Avengers comic into live action, I am not only completely changing the original look because it is live action, but I am also adding elements that the original medium does not have, such as movement, music, the characters' voices, and so many other things. When you make an anime, which is an adaptation of a manga, one of the elements that is added to this new medium is precisely color, since manga are usually made in black and white. And no, manga being black and white is not a question of the author's visual style, it is more a consequence of the way these mangas are originally published, and the deadline that the artists have, which needs to be extremely fast. However, many mangas, when republished in more luxurious formats, have colored pages, have colored covers, and some receive a completely colored version, like the Demon Slayer manga, for example. So for me, it is very bad that you fail to use such a basic resource as color, in a medium that offers this, for a fidelity to the original material that makes no sense. It would be the same as making an anime completely without sound, since the manga originally has no sound at all, something that is inconceivable because it is another medium. And this excess of visual fidelity that people demand in adaptations often makes no sense, because elements of the work necessarily need to change in order to be minimally coherent. For example, imagine that I'm going to do a live-action version of The Simpsons and I decide to paint the actors yellow. It makes sense if you think about fidelity, but in terms of visuals it would be horrible. In the case of Uzumaki, there's also the issue of the direction of the episode. And don't get me wrong, I liked the first episode. I haven't read that many things by Junji Ito, but the little I have read I liked, and Junji Ito has a very dynamic narrative style, and the scenes are usually very fast and don't tend to be long. In the anime they kept this characteristic and didn't add that many scenes, which for me is a wasted opportunity to make this first episode even better. You must have watched an anime where there is a specific scene that is shorter in the manga, and in the anime they extend the scene, add more movements to make it more cinematic, and the result is incredible. Well, that doesn't happen in Uzumaki, where there's one or two additional scenes, but overall, the anime is a much more literal transcription of the scenes from the manga, which somewhat limits the possibilities of specific or longer sequences that could be added to the anime, and that makes sense in this adaptation to make the visual narrative more fluid. And again, I'm not saying that the first episode is bad, but for me, the excessive fidelity is a defect and not a quality. I see it much more as a limitation of the freedom that the studio could have to make the work more compatible with an anime, giving more freedom to the animators to add content that can make the animated version even better. But what about you? Do you agree with me? What do you think about adaptations that try to be as faithful as possible to the original work? Leave it in the comments, and if you liked the video, subscribe to follow the next content. Until next time my people, demonic hugs.